Yeah. I don't know. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, you go ahead.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Not you. You don't want to do your whatever.
Hi,
thing.
welcome to another episode of Coin Operated.
No!
What kind of work is this hard at work?
Yeah, I'm going to actually play my music. Because we're the old Titans and we have music, which we can play while we're actually talking.
They actually created their own music.
Yeah, well, that's because they're creative people.
I thought that was going to be an insult. And it wasn't.
It was more of a compliment.
All I gotta do is
you
control,
know.
key, space it out, throw in the music,
There you go.
and boom, good to
There
go
you
for
go.
us.
Yeah, I hit a button.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I actually feel kind of like neglected. They have this cool little iPad, whatever it is, set up. And Brian has
That's
his
almost
computer.
nothing like an iPad.
Whatever it is, it's
It's a task cam.
This would be called like a sound recorder.
okay. They have a sound recorder. Brian has a computer.
He has a big microphone and a computer.
We have a cell phone.
I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 8. I mean, honestly, I have the most expensive piece of equipment sitting on the table
true.
at the moment.
That's because we can't afford that right now.
You will if you set that on the table.
There we go. Now I do.
Now we have one of those eye things
iPhone
with an X on the
X,
end.
256 gigabytes
Yeah. All
with
right.
a She-Hulk case.
We go by pay for it actually, and that's what happens here.
But anyway,
So if you hadn't figured it out, we have a whole lot of different podcasts competing for sound and audio waves and
Yeah.
things. I don't know what else to call them other than that.
This is our first like joint podcast, I think. Like all of us recording at the same time.
Yeah, three-way podcast.
yeah, I mean, we don't have Cody here, but he doesn't really say much anyway.
You should channel him.
Can you-
Just give
can
us
you
his
channel-
opinion on everything, too.
It was awesome.
I do that with John Paul all the time too. Like, what would John Paul say? DC. And that's I go from there.
Well,
Not
Cody,
always. Not always.
the thing is like Cody just rambles on about something, and you're just going, please do, just shut up, just stop it. When's the end of this conversation? Like, I understand you love Kingdom
I
Hearts.
deal
but
with it
just
all the
stop.
time on my podcast, all the time.
I love my podcast host that hosts with me.
Yeah, me too.
He's fantastic.
And I mean, no, I love he's a good sidekick. John Paul's a great sidekick. It's just sometimes I just wish I had more from him. You know, if
I bet sometimes
All
he
right.
wish he had less from you.
There we go.
Matt and I sometimes just hold hands across the table while we record.
That's true.
I saw it, especially
It's
during
true
the draft.
unity.
Okay, now I'm getting kind of uncomfortable. I don't know. I'm not sure because I'm across the table from both of you. I don't really want to hold hands.
the bathroom talk earlier to make you uncomfortable. And
Don't worry, I have B-Man in front of me, so
Yeah, oh yeah.
We're playing pussies. All right. So anyways,
I hope that's a foot.
So what is today about?
I don't want to comment right now. We are doing an award show what we feel is the best and worst of 2017, and it's mostly fanboy related stuff.
So you mean a look back at the year that was?
Yes.
The year that was either hell under Trump or glorious under Justice League in DC,
Oh,
right?
we're going
That's
politics
what the two-
now.
that's the way to
John
look
Paul
at it.
always
Yeah.
goes into politics. I always tell him
I
to
got
go
to
into
throw in
politics.
just a smidge.
And, and some things here we wouldn't ask, and I can't really comment on because I don't know. I haven't read comic books this year and that kind of stuff. Video games, I know you haven't played any. I don't know why.
I played a couple of video games.
This year?
Yeah.
When?
There's like Solitaire on my phone. I
Well,
play
then
that.
you can comment and we'll
Okay.
make fun of you for it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Angry Birds. I played Angry Birds
is good.
sometime this year.
Angry
I don't
Birds
know.
Is
wasn't
it the new
2017.
Angry Birds?
It was an Angry Birds Star Wars with an add-on pack of some type that I don't remember. So that was fun.
Did you pay for the add-on pack?
No,
Okay. It's free.
it was a
huh?
free one. It was some kind of promo.
That's
do
awesome
something.
news. All right, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it was Star Wars. I had lightsabers.
It was. And Star Wars, I have a feeling, is going to come up in these categories a lot. Some of them.
Yeah.
So let's start off with comic book. Make it easy. I don't know. I know Brian
I'm
and
going
John
to
Paul.
start with this. I have bought no comic books this year. I have read no comic books this year.
You'd
So
have a
I had
hard
to just
time.
NA all of them.
I'm actually with you on that. So you and I might have to sit out. Start off from
I
Matt.
feel bad because I love comic books, but yeah, I'm just not in that headspace right now.
Well, it's expensive. It's an expensive habit.
All right, so 40% of our room right now can't even comment on the first category.
Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
And I actually made the categories, which
You
is
made
the
the
worst.
category.
You also wrote nothing down. Like,
I-
you just have a blank sheet of paper here.
I know, and that's actually the worst thing
I
about
think
it.
I'm the
'cause-
only one that didn't come with a sheet of paper. I just came with a sticky note.
Look at
Yeah,
papers.
that works. A sticky
I
note's a piece of
actually
paper.
filled out the
technically.
table that John Paul made.
Yeah,
That's a good table.
I did too. I even typed it out.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
That's
I mean,
because I was lazy and didn't want to write afterwards.
that's
But-
fine. I can start here then.
Who are you?
I'm Matt. Oh, man. I'm hard at work, Matt. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay.
And since you're going first, you should lay out how we're talking about each of the categories. Too.
So each category will name what it is. This one is comic book category. Then we'll list 3 different comic books and or movies and shows and stuff later. It'll be your best, your most disappointing, and your most surprising. And sometimes that can all be the same thing.
It could be. And surprising could be surprisingly good or
Or
surprisingly,
surprisingly bad.
bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I was surprised to hear about B-Man's bathroom,
Habits?
stuff earlier.
Shenanigans.
So that was a bad version of surprised.
I've talked about it in front of you before. I'm surprised you don't listen to when I talk to you, John Paul. You never listen to
I'm surprised you can only go when Matt is doing his
Yeah,
opening
that's
intro.
weird. It's weird.
Sorry.
You just record it at home, just like whenever you have to go.
That's when he listens to our show.
It actually is.
Anyway.
The table is set up from best, then most disappointing, then most surprising. But I would personally like to go the other way because I feel like
Let's
should
do that.
save best for last.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Everybody okay
That
with
works.
that?
That works.
So my most surprising comic book this year then is Rick and Morty Pocket Like You Stole It. And this is like a Rick and Morty Pokemon crossover. No
It's,
actual Pokemon
written by
stuff.
Tinny Howard.
And it is hilarious, and I loved it. It was
Yeah,
great. Looks
she's
just
really
like
cool.
the show.
She also drew the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink. The Pink
Okay,
Power Rangers
yeah.
series,
That's good art.
And she
So
was in MegaCon Tampa recently.
I dug it. It made me laugh, and it actually
too
felt
much.
like the show. So if you watch Rick and Morty at all, you'll dig it.
So here's a question: if you have never watched Rick and Morty and
You
don't
will-
even know
you
what
will
it
not
is,
dig it.
you won't get it.
You will not
Well, I was
dig it
curious
at
because
all.
it could still be funny. There's things that
Yeah.
If you've never ever seen Bugs Bunny and read a Bugs Bunny comic book, you'd be okay. I'm assuming it's nothing like Bugs Bunny.
No, it's not.
No, okay.
It's not even a little bit like Bugs Bunny. But
Okay.
it's good.
Are there any rabbits in it?
Yeah.
Well, then it's a little like Bugs Bunny.
Well, it's about this bunny called
Rabbit
Bugs.
season?
So it sounds exactly like Bugs Bunny.
Oh, you know what? I think my most surprising was Bugs Bunny. Now that I think about it.
So Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Now, are we going to do everybody now give their
go
most
for it.
surprising?
Go for it. Keep
Okay,
going.
all right. So my most disappointing was Marvel Legacy. I really enjoyed the art, but that book, I read it and was like, so that was the thing I did. That was,
I wanted to read it, but I heard that from a lot of people. That's why
Yeah.
I didn't spend the money on it. I heard
Well,
that it was very
you-
disappointing.
Got the copy signed by Jason.
I
Aaron.
did. I got it
Yeah.
signed thanks to you. So
Actually, I get the same thing right there.
Yeah,
Thank you, Brian.
at least 2 people have read the comic.
but I didn't.
One hasn't.
I have it. It's
I
sitting,
see it every
It's
day
sitting
when
in the back office right now.
So that was an issue just called Marvel Legacy?
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a reboot and like kind of explain where a lot of the mythical items and stuff in the Marvel universe came
Yeah,
from.
kind of like with DC Rebirth, how they just redid everything. Marvel Legacy was supposed to be that, like, where did the Phoenix Force come from? Where did Odin come? Like, that type of...
So they're rebooting
Sounds
again,
cool, right?
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Soft reboot. Soft reboot.
Well,
It's that time of year.
this is what
Yeah.
caused them to bring back a lot of the old numbering, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they brought
Yep.
back the old numbering
Which
system.
I did like that idea, too.
Yeah, especially now they're like Spider-Man 9 or 797, a bunch of old comics like that. You're like, wow, this has been going on for a long ass time.
Yeah.
So, which is actually, that leads into my next one, which was my best comic book of the
All right.
year, which was, oh man,
I'm gonna
Moon
get-
Knight.
Yeah.
I had a
Moon Knight
feeling.
Legacy. Actually, Moon Knight in general is just always awesome, but bringing it back to the old numbering and just like, I really enjoyed the art style and I'm into it. I went and picked them both up, or I picked them up late because I missed the first issue, but I was really missing out. Moon Knight.
Yeah.
He had one of the cooler villains. It was Bushwhacker, what his name was? Or is that his name?
I don't know.
yeah,
Could be.
that is a Moon Knight villain. Yeah,
I used to like him a lot.
Bushwhacker. That is
Okay.
the guy.
Yeah. Well,
All right,
you
so
know,
that was my
I
that
can't
was
make
my
fun
three.
of it. I like comics that have
No.
characters like Arm Fall Off Lad. So
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it
You
really is.
know-
No, I
all
won't go there
that's
now.
fine. Who else read comics this year?
I got some.
Me and John Paul.
Who wants, you want to go first? Me go first.
Either
Second,
or.
actually.
Okay. I wrote mine down in type, so I'm gonna go next. How about that?
Alright, that's fine.
I'm more prepared than a post-it note.
I need a Rosetta Stone to actually
Okay.
decipher my
So I'll go in the same.
handwriting.
I'll do the same thing, going kind
Okay.
of backwards order here. Most surprising, and I'm doing this mainly the reverse order for B-Man. The very first thing I'm voting on is a Marvel comic. Look at
Figure
that,
it
not
out.
a DC.
Wow.
Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man #1. It was
Written by
named.
Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah, it was named after the old '80s series of Peter Parker, and it felt like reading a Spider-Man comic from back in the '80s. It felt like coming home. It was really cool.
Felt like a real homecoming.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
You get it?
Also come up later on in this, yes.
Yeah, a true homecoming in this case, though, and not an iron coming
That's,
or whatever.
that's
I don't know.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but it was very very well done. you laughed, you cried, you wanted more, and all. You actually didn't cry anymore. You really just laughed and enjoyed it. Yeah. Most disappointing. This is where Scott Snyder decided he wanted to work for Marvel instead of DC, and he created Dark Knight's Metal, which is a Marvel miniseries stuck in the DC universe, and it's just complete and utter crap. There's just no other way to say it.
He couldn't even say this DC thing was bad without also bashing on Marvel at the same time.
Right after praising Marvel, though, for Peter Parker.
And he also said crap, which for John Paul is
That's a step
pretty...
far.
That's because Metal, Metal wasted so much time.
It's funny because you
and
seemed pumped up on that
on
from
the very
first issue.
one.
You were
the
like,
first
I'm
issue.
into it.
The second issue was just there. The third issue was just there. Well, the first two were preludes. I think they decided to go and make extra money on because they decided, hey, we're getting good press. We'll go do this stuff. And then there's crossovers and one-shots and left and right and delays, and it's taking longer, and you don't know when it's going to end, if it ever's going to end, and it's really going to matter. And it feels like either a Marvel miniseries, which a lot of people complained about, or a Grant Morrison miniseries. It could be either one.
What makes it feel Marvel-y?
He just needed a trash on it somehow, so he said...
No, honestly, the fact that they started delaying and having crossovers left and right, and...
Well, no, delaying, that's all Image, not Marvel.
Well, no, Marvel's had a lot of delaying, adding on extra issues and so on. Every miniseries from Marvel for the past 3, 4, or 5 years has started out as like 4 or 5 or 6 issues and ended up being 7, 8, or 9 issues. And they've started, we're going to end in June, and it ends up ending in December.
Yeah, he ain't wrong.
I'm actually going to defend Dark Knight's Metal here because I really did enjoy it. And one of the things that they did was, instead of what Marvel did, just where like everything has to be involved with it, like Secret Empire, everything had to be involved with Secret Empire, even though they had nothing to do with it. The Dark Knight's Metal was pretty much, they went, okay, who wants to be involved in it? We'll write you guys into the story. We'll include you in one of the side stories, so that way it's not interrupting anything. Because Wonder Woman was in it, but her series is still ongoing without having to stop everything, do the Dark Knight Metal, and then continue back where they left off.
So that was a better way editorially to do it. But it's still such a disappointing book. Unless you like Scott Snyder's Batman.
Which I do.
If you like Scott Snyder's Batman, you'll love it. You probably still don't love the adding on and delays and other kind of stuff. But
now, Batman's my favorite out of all of them. I gotta ask this. Who's worse, in my opinion? Grant Morrison Batman or Scott Snyder Batman?
Oh, Grant Morrison every time. Okay. Every time.
I could not get into Grant Morrison.
Every time.
Because you're not on drugs.
I don't understand what any of this means.
All right.
And Grant Morrison is a comic book writer.
Oh, okay.
And he wrote some Batman stuff.
Oh, Batman.
It was Batman.
Batman's
actually.
cool, right?
Batman,
and Justice League and Final Crisis and X-Men and other stuff. I mean,
he's written a lot of things. He wrote some good stuff in his day.
He's written a Christmas comic called Claus. It's really good.
And he's British.
And one of
British?
One of his miniseries is being turned into a TV show. He's Scottish, actually.
He's Scottish?
Yeah,
well, that's
from
still
Glasgow.
British. That's part of the British Empire, you know.
I don't think they want to be part of the
later
British
on,
Empire.
With
Brexit? No.
We'll talk about something.
All right, so best.
Somebody give him a drum roll.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so for best, I thought when I first started the category, I put down Doomsday Clock. Because Doomsday Clock, #1, came out in November and was incredible and fantastic. It's the sequel to Watchmen. It's bringing Watchmen and DC together, and it's kind of the culmination of everything Rebirth, and it was great. But there's been one issue. And I hate to give something best of the entire year for one issue. The entire year, I've been enjoying Superman. I mean, there's multiple Superman books, but the actual Superman title. This is the one that focuses on him and Lois and their son Jonathan, who's the new Superboy. And as a father with kids who are growing up and leaving the home, it's hit all the right notes. It's been really cool. So Superman for me is, it's other people would probably say action over Superman, but it's just more of where it's at. It's been great.
Cool.
Alrighty, coin operated.
Yes, the only one that actually reads comics in coin operated. My most surprising is actually not a comic, but like a huge event, was Brian Michael Bendis leaving Marvel. He's been there for a lot of years, and with him leaving, a lot of comics are now going to be in flux.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing because some of his runs were really hard, like Guardians of the Galaxy ended up being really bad.
He did Daredevil back in the day, right?
He did a few Daredevils.
I remember liking that a lot.
Yeah, his run on Daredevil was awesome.
Yeah. And one of the things that gets in limbo is Jessica Jones, which is one of their more adult-themed comics, which he created the character, so that's one that's going to be affected.
Could be infected, depending on the storyline.
Yeah.
That'd be a good storyline.
Miles Morales, he was one of the major writers for him.
Yeah.
So that's for me one of the first times that he actually has a new writer. So a lot of those books were his staples that he knew how to write. The new Ironheart or Iron Man one that he was writing, that's going to be completely different now. So it's just going to be this huge like changing of the guard in Marvel, because he was considered like one of like the DC legacies, but Marvel actually had one of the writers like he's with us forever, and it's almost like a Jack Kirby type stuff.
Was that like over creative differences?
No, his contract was up and he wanted to do
He
something
just
different.
wanted to change?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So that was my most surprising. My most disappointing is actually going to be Secret Empire. For the whole, where everything's going to be included, like the X-Men had nothing to do with the original story arc of Captain America being a Hydra agent, but it's like, all of a sudden the X-Men are in it. It's like, why? No point. For me, the best comic is going to be Image comic, Scales and Scoundrels. That's one of my favorite ones. It's pretty good.
I did read the first issue of that after
Yeah.
I read your review, so I did read one comic.
Yeah, so I
So
liked
that was
it a
your
lot.
one for the year?
Yeah, it was that's my most disappointing and my most surprising.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a typical story. It's a typical fantasy story, but the way that it's written, it's all ages, so little kids could enjoy it, adults could enjoy it, and it's written by the same person that did Shirtless Bear Fighter. Can't remember their name right now, but it's really interesting. Issue number 5 is coming out in January, and I'm writing a review on that one now. Just plugging myself. Anyway, so yeah,
Cool.
those are
No,
my
cool.
comic stuff.
Good job,
All right.
everybody.
All right.
You want to announce the next category?
Video games.
Video games. The one that I have absolutely nothing to say
You
about.
just said you played Solitaire and Angry Birds and that kind of stuff,
I
Jumbo.
did, but I'm not really going to count that because, well,
Oh, then
you know,
you included
they
yourself.
came out from before.
You
You know.
included yourself. All right, I'll go first this one.
You don't have anything written down.
Yeah, why do you keep looking down at
Yeah,
your
stop
paper?
looking at the paper.
I can't help it. I can't help it. I got.
Most surprising.
These guys are going to be surprised by this, but this summer,
But it makes sense since it's the most surprising.
yeah, well,
That's a good point.
this summer I played it a lot.
Oh yeah, I already know what
I
that
played
is.
a lot, which I became obsessed with it, and actually dreamt of doing it. Friday the 13th, amazing game, but amazing with quotations, because unless you get in a good group, people like the same stuff you like, it's terrible. Because video games this year, the PvP system, 10 people in it. What do you think? 3-4 guys and jerks, give or take.
Probably a good bet.
Yeah, and this game
I thought it would be
just
safer saying like 9 of them are jerks.
possibly. And this game, just using one jerk, and the entire game is ruined. And that always happens. So unless you get in a good group, the game isn't fun. So that was my most surprising. I loved it. I still play it to this day. I want to kill a counselor. Wouldn't mind doing it. They kind of deserve it, but whatever.
That's
All
fair.
right.
That's a fair point.
Disappointing.
Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Which just came out.
Yeah, it just came out. I was looking forward to it since it was announced like 2 years ago. They're going to improve on things from the first one. I actually liked the first one. I thought it was pretty decent. They did make a campaign mode, which is nice, but the microtransactions drama just really affected this game.
So the commercials for this make it look like you're playing the Empire or whatever the whole time.
And the
bad guys.
storyline,
Yeah.
like the first 10 minutes of it. Yeah,
Okay.
you are.
The commercial is all about being the bad guys.
You're the bad guy the first half.
Okay.
Maybe, if we didn't that long.
Okay.
The game is fun, but it took away a lot of my favorite modes. The capture the flag mode is gone. Escape pod mode, that's gone. It seems like there's less to do in this one than the first one. And it really was set up for microtransactions where you could pay X amount of money to get all these extra chests. And that actually, like, Senate, I believe, Senate of Congress got involved in that one. And Disney got involved saying, you guys can't do this. The negative backlash. It's the most disliked post ever on Reddit to this day, which is insane. So anyways, disappointing that way. And best, I talked to Matt about it yesterday. You're going to disagree with me. I haven't played many games. I haven't played like 6 games this year, but Resident Evil 7 I thought was incredible. It's the only game that actually made me like terrified. And I imagine playing this on VR. I didn't play it on VR. I want to, but I imagine playing it on VR is simply terrifying. I would love to play that on VR.
You should.
I should. I don't-
You almost bought a VR one time.
I waited for like 3 months for it. Never came in, so I could just say, I'm good.
Those are fine games that you pointed out.
Are they?
I'm going to go ahead and move into mine, though, because yours are wrong.
Okay.
Most surprising game this year is Farpoint. Mostly because you thought it was just going to be a VR shooter, which it was very good at doing, but it also had an awesome story. that
Star
made
Trek,
you...
right?
No, Farpoint.
Yeah, Encounter at Farpoint, the first episode of
No,
Next Gen.
Stop what you're doing.
Okay.
It's Farpoint. Farpoint, the VR game.
Okay. They had the holodeck VR.
They did, and that's
Yeah,
supposed to be
okay.
cool. Haven't played it, though. Farpoint, everybody go out and buy it. It's awesome. Most disappointing, Destiny 2. I did not like the way that game felt. The story didn't really grab me, so I played a collective probably 6 hours of it and moved on. That doesn't really matter, though. Best game of the year, and I can't overstate this, Horizon Zero Dawn was amazing, and everybody should play it. If
And
you
I've heard
haven't
good
played
things.
it,
Everybody tells me good things about it.
man, is it good. All right, I'm done.
That was fast.
That
But
was,
hey, just
I
gotta
should
get to the
get to
point
those.
on it, you know?
All right.
To those,
So my most surprising game is one that Matt here actually had me play at
That
his
was
place. It's a party game. You actually use your phone. It interacts with
Oh,
the PS4.
yeah, that game's awesome.
It's called Hidden Agenda.
This is what you were telling me about. Yeah.
We might be playing this Friday, tomorrow night. We might be doing
You
it.
guys are gonna like it.
It's really
cool.
good. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's an interactive movie, basically.
Just keep in mind, John
when
Paul
it
gets
comes to
confused easy.
certain story cruxes, everybody gets to choose how they want it to play out. But at the same time, every once in a while, the game gives you a hidden agenda. So you want it to play out a certain way. So you're kind of trying to play it your way, and everyone else is against you. And there's like overrides, so you can like override someone else's choices, and yeah, it's really cool. It was a lot of fun.
I'm looking for. I had the game sitting on my table. It's just my friend base is just unreliable.
Unreliable.
We're always here. Except
It's
when we're not.
It's a good length too. You can actually play the whole thing like with your friends at a party. It's like 2
About how long
hours
is it?
probably.
It's 2 hours.
Maybe 3 hours, depending.
You haven't been to a John Paul party. Let me tell you, those things get crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Dungeons and
yeah.
Dragons happens. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It gets insane.
Every so often, a Red Dragon Inn. even
Yeah,
pops
that
up.
happens too.
Yeah.
That's a great game.
Okay, so surprisingly, with my other two categories, it's the same game. This was both the best game for me this year and the most disappointing. And it was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Okay.
This was the fourth game in the series. The first three were that's probably my favorite series of all time. I love Mass Effect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I haven't played them,
And so
so
I was so excited to play this game. And it was disappointing. And I knew it was going to be because everyone was saying before it even came out, like the graphics weren't up to par and there was a lot of bugs. And
But it was still fun.
But it was still really fun. The combat was probably the best combat they've had in any Andromeda game or any Mass Effect game. The story I thought was cool. It was a really good reboot. They literally uproot the whole human race to the Andromeda galaxy to explore. And it was just like a complete reset for the whole franchise. It was really well done. I like the characters. I mean, it's a solid game that was ruined by not having enough time to finish it. It's very unpolished, a lot of graphical errors, a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
Even the multiplayer was fun. But very limited, but fun. So, yeah, most disappointing, but also the best.
Mass Effect 4.
Yes.
Right.
Andromeda.
Andromeda.
I'm looking at you. What
yeah.
you got? What's on your
Right.
list?
My most surprising game is probably going to be the most surprising one out of all you guys. It's going to be the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp for the iOS and Android devices. It took the concept of Animal Crossing, made it more simplified, and it's super easy to do, super easy to play. You don't have to worry about microtransactions. You don't have to buy stuff to buy other things. You could easily just play it without spending any of your hard-earned cash. So to me, that's one of those surprising games because mostly right now, every single game for the cell phone, microtransaction. You gotta buy this to upgrade. You gotta upgrade. Here, you can just play it and have fun with it.
So I got to ask, in very short amount of words, I don't mean this is a joke. When I hear Animal Crossing, I picture Frogger. I mean, frog crossing the road. It's an animal crossing. I'm sure it's not Frogger.
Yeah.
So, in really short description, what is Animal Crossing?
Animal?
It's
Yeah.
What else would it
It's
be?
a reptile, isn't it?
Still
Which
an
falls
animal.
under the animal kingdom. What's
Yeah.
it? And he's easily confused. Come on.
It's kind of like a mixture of The Sims and like those turn-based games where you do things to collect other items.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting game because they ported it, or not imported. They took the concept from one of the Nintendo franchises, Animal Crossing, and they brought it down to the iOS devices. It's their third game for cell phones, and so far I think it's one of the best ones. It has the second most downloads out of all three of them because the other ones are Mario Run, Animal Crossing, and Fiddlesticks. I can't remember the name
Hey,
of
look
it.
at that.
I don't think that's the
Animal
name of
Crossing.
it.
Right there. There's a Mario game.
There is a Mario game. Not very good.
Really?
Yeah.
Fire Emblem.
Okay.
Fire Emblem Heroes. So yeah, so that was probably a surprising game. My most disappointing game was probably just everything that came out that wasn't exclusive to a certain console because everyone's talking about like how this game was great, but like Cuphead was great for the Xbox. But there was no cross-platform game that was universally amazing on all the platforms. Like Resident Evil 7, you had to have the VR to experience it differently. So for me, I guess it's just a cross-platform on all the games. That's probably the most disappointing thing so far, because whatever. And best will be Cuphead, where they brought back difficulties and where you actually had to be good at playing a video game. And the art style was amazing. The concept of it, that it took 7 years to make, it was hand-drawn. It's not like a 2-year endeavor from like Andromeda, which they rushed it. They took their time, and you could see the quality of it.
I've heard of none of these games.
Yeah, that was cool. It's like a side-scrolling Mario type, but the art style looks like an old 20s hand-drawn cartoon.
Well, that's cool.
That's really pretty. Like art style-wise, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and for $20, yeah, it's a 8-hour game, but it makes you play. It makes you understand the visual concept, and you just enjoy it all. Just a treat for the eyes.
But yeah, your little dude literally has a cup for a head, and what you have to do like a ball falls in, you gotta get the ball from one side of the level to the other or something.
No, you gotta.
That would be a better mechanic.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
You gotta collect souls of people. You sold your soul to the devil, so to get it back, you have to collect the souls from people that owe him money. So you go and you collect their souls.
Yeah.
Souls in the cup.
Cuphead makes total sense.
No, not really.
Is the cup inconsequential to the game?
Yeah, his name is just Cuphead, and it's Mugman.
For some reason, I thought the cup was part of the game.
No.
But apparently not.
Yeah, picture a little Mario with a cup for a head.
Yeah.
Collecting mushrooms.
But yeah, so those would be my video games.
Yeah.
Oh, guys.
Not heard of that. I will throw out one thing. This is not new, but I did discover Sunday night as I was going through some stuff for my father-in-law trying to find a certain CD to install a driver. I found my Infocom collection. So I'm planning over Christmas installing Zork 1 and going back to Zork. I don't know if y'all have ever played.
Text-based.
It was a text-based game.
fantasy.
It was such an incredible thing from back in the 80s and before.
One of the best things with you and John Paul is I feel young sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't feel young often anymore, but I feel young sometimes.
Hey, Zork was incredible. Just saying. That'll be my closest to a video game of the year.
Can I just say I'm surprised no one mentioned the SNES Classic? I know that's not a game.
You can
but
say that,
it's-
yes, Nick. I'm glad you said that.
That was such a huge release. I'm surprised nobody mentioned it.
It was.
Especially Brian.
I think it's very similar to the NES Classic, where there's this huge fanfare for it. You can't find it, and then you're starting to see it pop up here and there in little places. Like one of the surprising places people have been able to find it have been the Amazon bookstore. So you're walking into an Amazon bookstore, you're thinking, oh, behind the counter they have the SNES Classic. You talk to the guy, hey, how long have you guys had those? Oh, for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was such an event in video games, though.
I know. But me and John, or one of our other coworkers, were like, we gotta get it.
Yeah, you guys got a day up.
We're feverishly trying to find it.
And you did, and you got them for everybody here. I appreciate that, Brian. Came through.
So what's next in our
Brian, I
category
think we
list?
lead off the next one.
Oh, you don't want me to.
which
go.
was-
These should
Fine.
be the first categories where everybody can actually answer, right?
Yeah,
I think it's-
Everybody
I
watches
hope so.
TV.
You don't,
right?
you don't want me to answer.
No,
you don't want
I
me
mean,
to
I
start
want
off.
you to start off. I'm
Okay.
intrigued. Fanboy TV show. Go for it.
Most surprising, everything being bad.
Wow.
Everything was just garbage. Walking Dead.
He's a real optimist, this one here
Well,
loves life.
You have all these we've put all these things up to these high standards of being awesome, being amazing, blowing us away, and then when we finally got the finished product, we're kind of because the Defenders, the Punisher, The Walking Dead, well, whatever. I'll watch it. I'll wait until Netflix. Preacher, I'll wait until Netflix. The DC stuff, well, I'll just wait for the crossover. As soon as the crossover hits, then I'm good. I don't really care about anything else. Maybe The Flash, and then some of the Marvel stuff was just whatever. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was...
So
With
this is
Ant.
interesting then, because your most surprising thing is that everything sucked.
Yeah.
So what sucked the most? What's your most
Yeah,
disappointing?
what's the most disappointing? Which one
Everything.
did you think might be good?
Well, everything was just horrible.
I threw my TV out. I hate it.
So everything, and based on those two answers, you got to have blank for the best.
I'm
Nothing.
looking for the best right now. I'm
Yeah.
looking for the best. Nothing?
No, one of the things, this goes to, the non-fanboy stuff. It's the non-ABC Marvel stuff, like Legions, Gifted, Runaways, those type of stuff, blew everyone out of the water. But you think of Legion, okay, you're not really thinking X-Men. They tell you it's part of the X-Men or the Marvel. You're like, oh, I don't see it. I don't care. Gifted, yeah, it's mutants. Yeah, I don't care. It doesn't really correlate with it. And the Runaways is like, yeah, it's the Runaways. Yeah, but it's not the main franchise of Marvel and DC, so I don't care.
So you're disappointed in all of that.
I'm disappointed in like the major marquee fanboy TV shows. Like anything based on an Image comic was garbage this year. Like The Walking Dead, how many people have kept up with it so far on this table?
Yeah, I'm way behind.
B-Man raised his hand. This is an audio podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. This is-
How many people have kept up with Preacher Season 2?
I didn't even watch season 1.
I mean,
I don't have
made it
cable.
halfway through.
I don't keep up with anything. I don't have cable.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, it's got to come to Netflix.
I keep up with a lot. I do keep up with a lot of
yeah,
stuff.
and
but
except for John Paul, how many people have kept up with the DC shows? Like
no hands
DC
raised.
shows
No
make
hands
my
raised.
I
list.
keep up with every- except for
John
the-
Paul.
not religiously watching it the day, but like within a week of the episode premiering. How many people have kept up with it?
I would have if Hulu had kept them on, but they booted all those shows off too, so I have to wait for them to come on Netflix.
And then with Netflix, how many people finished The Defenders?
oh, I
I
finished,
finished it.
But how long did it take you to finish it?
Oh, I finished it quick.
to get it out of the way.
You had to get through that.
The Punisher.
I
What-
just finished that recently.
I just started it. I'm
Yeah.
not excited.
So it's that type of stuff. So
He's so sad.
it's not.
so
I'm
sad.
disappointed with those marquee shows. And-
Punisher, yeah.
So yeah, so that's
All
why
right.
I'm saying I don't want to go first.
All right, no, well,
Really
we
put us on
start
the
at the
map,
lowest end
though.
and work our way up, hopefully.
Most surprising, you kind of touched base on it. I thought Legion was really good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had zero desire to watch Legion. Zero desire to watch it. It's supposed to be artsy, all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff for it. I hate artsy stuff. I liked Legion a lot. Some parts I didn't like. Sometimes they're like, okay, you're going too overboard. But for the most part, I thought it was a good show.
Too overboard? They had a dance number.
The dance numbers out of the blue.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think I actually called you right when they had, like, what am I watching, John Paul? I was like, it gets better, it gets better.
Incredible show.
I couldn't make it through
Absolutely
it,
incredible.
man. That show kind of sucked.
And-
Kind of sucked.
I can see why you're saying that, honestly, but I enjoyed it.
It was in my very short list for best of the year.
Okay.
It was.
That's
Most
fair.
disappointing, Walking Dead, as you just touched upon as well. We created this podcast, a year ago, you and I?
Yeah.
And it was basically about Walking Dead when we first started it. Like, I see.
Well, for you, it was about Walking Dead. For me, it was probably about DC.
well,
and other
whatever.
Stuff. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
usually the right one. And
I still like he looks at a blank list. Like
Stop looking at the list.
Take that away from him.
don't take my list. I need my list.
like so this. I'm like, what's in the list? I want to get a sneak peek.
I can't concentrate right now.
All right. So what was your best show all year?
Fanboys, actually, Fanboy and regular is the same. Game of Thrones. I loved Game of Thrones. It's a short show. I don't know, 6 episodes this year, I think it was.
I could have guessed all three of
It was
those.
8.
Could be because we talk about all these shows every week, but I could have
Yeah.
guessed all three of those for you.
Game of Thrones for me, I love it all the way through. I think when this show finally ends, it's kind of my favorite show of all time. I just loved it. Game of Thrones is great, so I'm gonna leave it there.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Most surprising fanboy show was Iron Fist because I think it just got crapped on so hard that I was like, I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and it was fine. So I was like, oh, this is better than I thought it was going to be for sure.
So
If
the
you go
surprise.
listen to our review episode, I would say you actually thought it was good.
Upon reflection, I think it was fine. At the time, I was like, this is good. But it definitely wasn't what people were saying it was. So
But it was context. You went in with really low expectations.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it was the reviews were very colored by the controversy around it more than the quality of the show itself.
There was controversy. What was the controversy?
It was
that a
pretty-
white dude played this white character instead of an Asian dude playing this white character. It was
because
very
he was
confusing.
he was the Asian savior that only a white man could save the Asian populace.
It was the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a flaw of the concept of the comic book made
Right.
in the 70s that carried into the TV show because they didn't correct that
Right.
error.
Okay.
Most disappointing. And now this one I went back and forth on, and me and Nick talked about it earlier because I wanted to put Defenders here, and I think I originally put Defenders here. But eventually I came to the realization that Defenders shook my confidence in the stuff on Netflix, sure, but I'm still watching Punisher now.
Okay.
But Flash Season 3 was so bad, and Season 3 started in 2016, I am aware, but it
Yeah, you're a
ended in
season behind.
2017.
You're a season behind. but
So I'm
yes,
good.
I did. Yeah.
Flash Season 3 was so bad that I'm not watching any more of the DC stuff that comes on CW. You can only kick me when I'm down so many times.
Well, this
What-
just proves my point.
Whether your opinion is right or wrong, decide. One show is going to kill your.
Well,
enjoyment of
I had
4
already
shows.
pretty much bailed on Arrow,
Okay.
just because it had continuously got worse and worse, and I didn't get sucked into Supergirl enough to continue watching. And,
But
like,
you did compliment it when you started it.
yeah, Supergirl was really the first season. Supergirl, I'm like, all right, I'm on board. I never got into season 2 because I started with Flash,
Okay.
and I was just like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it was just that reveal at the end, and that's another thing. Season 3 starts off really good, and I'm like, oh man, I'm coming in every day. I'm like, dude, you need to be watching Flash. Season 3 is really good, and by the end, I'm like, I can't believe y'all done
And
this.
it's funny
to me.
because I'm at the point in season 3 because I watch it on Netflix very slowly, where he was still enjoying it. So I'm like, what possibly could be going wrong?
For the record, while I still enjoyed season 3, it was their weakest season. This season is back up. They no longer have an evil speedster as the villain.
That's
It's good.
It took 4 seasons. For
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
oh
it's-
man.
I know that they stretched it. 2 seasons was okay, even though I would have done something different second season. But
Yeah.
2 was okay, but that was as far as they should have gone.
Yeah, it hurt me. It hurt me to my core, where I was just like, I can't do it anymore. And then my best is Game of Thrones also, because
Yes.
Game of Thrones
Wow.
is awesome.
Wow, I didn't know you were that big on Game of Thrones.
Oh man, yeah, Game of Thrones, man, that's where it's at.
Yeah,
Cool.
you never talked
Watch
about
Game of
that.
Thrones.
Well, he doesn't watch it, so it just never comes up in our show or anything. And I don't think I was ever on y'all's show when you were talking about it. But yeah, Game of Thrones, man,
All right.
what up?
All right, I'll go.
Winners coming.
So for
Yes.
Fanboy TV, I'm hoping these count as fanboy shows.
Surprising.
My most surprising was the Orville. Is that considered a fanboy?
Yes.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, wow.
it's basically a Star Trek Next Generation clone with some comedy in there. And I was really surprised because I thought, oh, this is going to be a dumb comedy.
It
And
was.
even the trailers.
How could it be surprising? It was a dumb comedy.
No, but if you 90% of those episodes, it's taken very seriously, like an episode of the Next Generation, and then they just sprinkle that comedy in there. I was very surprised by that,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it. I think
That was
it's,
the sprinkles. I got sprinkles.
Yeah.
it's a really good Star Trek-like show. I really enjoy it. I was surprised. I did not expect to enjoy that
Well, it
show.
was renewed for a second season, and then first season was cut short all of a sudden, which was kind of odd. So I don't know what's going on with that. But
And I haven't finished it. I've seen most of the first season. I haven't watched all of them, but I enjoy it. It's a pretty solid show. Most disappointing definitely goes to the Defenders. Everything that built up to it, and it had already started to falter because Daredevil season 2. I was pretty disappointed in about half of that season. I actually did like Iron Fist quite a bit, but a lot of people didn't. But man, I was like, Defenders is going to bring it all together. This is going to be great. Oh, and then Luke Cage, I did not enjoy at all.
Ugh, Luke Cage.
You know,
I was already going into Defenders where the Netflix stuff was kind of on shaky ground, and then it just
That was
killed
it.
it.
That
Just
was it.
killed it. So I have watched The Punisher now. I thought The Punisher was better than the Defenders, and considerably better than Luke Cage, but it's not great either.
still not up to Daredevil.
you know, the first half of Luke Cage
No.
isn't that bad. I'm just gonna say that right now. I like the first half of Luke Cage.
Sure. Yeah.
It got weak. It ended horribly. And
I mean, that's a fine thing to say, but unless the first half was 100% and the second half was like
no, the
decent,
first half was like 80%.
exactly, and then the last half
Was
like-
foolishness. I agree.
so then it brings your score down to a failing grade.
That's true.
So there you go.
I got nothing to say in that.
What's your best one though?
So my best fanboy TV show of the year, again, I assume this is considered fanboy because it is in that sci-fi genre, Stranger Things Season 2.
That counts.
Stranger Things is great.
Still haven't
really
watched
good.
it. Still haven't watched it.
Still haven't watched it?
Yeah, I'm going to.
All right,
I
well,
enjoyed this
spoil-
first season.
He's
It
going.
just was
No,
long.
you didn't enjoy
It was
that
too
first
long.
season. You yelled at me the next day, and I cried.
No, I think this is one of my expectations were too high.
Okay.
Because everybody raved everywhere. I mean, at Dragon Con even, they were talking Stranger Things everywhere. And it was good. It should have been 2 or 3 episodes long instead of 8. But
2 or 3 episodes. That's all you wanted from Stranger Things.
for that story, that's all you needed. Now, you
I
could have
thought that
gone
first
8 episodes and
season
done
was-
more. But for that story, 2 or 3 episodes would have gotten the entire story. I mean, Goonies did the entire story in a 2-hour movie. X-Files were done in 1 episode. And it was a mixture of X-Files and Goonies.
Sure, but better than both of those things.
I
mean-
no.
And released after 1994.
There you go. I don't know.
But I am going to watch season 2.
Yeah, it's,
One day.
It's really good. The only thing I was disappointed in, and it's just a personal thing, I wanted more answers that were kind of left from the first one. You don't get a lot of big answers in this. which just means we're going to get more, so it can't be that bad. But as far as what the season of television you get is very entertaining.
Sounds like X-Files. You never get answers.
I think we will get answers with this eventually, I hope. But yeah,
I don't know,
you're
X-Files,
not going to get a lot of
take it
big
back.
answers in this.
X-Files gave you a lot of answers on some things, but kept changing the answers.
Yeah.
And some things they never answered. So
And you probably never will get, because it sounds
No.
like they're just going to do this one more mini season.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Then they're done.
all right.
So
All
that's
right.
my fanboy TV.
So mine, B-Man and I are on the exact same page for most surprising. Legion. I knew going in Noah Hawley had done a fantastic job with Fargo. And if you haven't watched Fargo, highly encourage you to watch Fargo. But even knowing that, Legion was so much better than what I was expecting. Maybe I love the musical number dance routine thing too
Did
much.
you
I
like
don't
that
know.
number for real?
I loved it.
It was so pointless. It didn't fit in the show
I've
at all.
gone back and watched just that one scene like 5 or 6 times.
Now, I went back and watched
Yeah.
that stripper
Weird.
scene with that person did. That was kind of awesome, but I forgot her name.
Audrey Plaza.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Why do you want to make the podcast weird?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why you gotta make us uncomfortable?
I'm sorry.
But anyway, it's good. So if you didn't see Legion, I highly recommend it. And that's 2 out of 5 of us put that on there and surprising.
That's
so
crazy.
That's cool. Most disappointing. I don't know if anybody else here watched Ash versus the Evil Dead. I loved season 1. First, I loved the old, the Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Love Bruce Campbell. Ash versus the Evil Dead season 1 was fantastic. Season 2, they announced it. Yay, it's coming. They cast Lee Majors to play his father. You don't get much better than Lee Majors and Bruce Campbell on the screen together.
He's the Fall Guy, right?
Yeah, Fall Guy,
Okay.
$6 Million Man,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was perfect. And I could say it could have been the most disappointing, so big of a disappointment that it overlapped into other categories. It was that disappointing, but it was just so bad. I watched like 3 episodes and I was done.
Wow.
So,
Just that quick, that
It was
show
that-
went downhill.
yeah, it's only like 6 or 8 episodes long. I mean, it's not like it's a long
Yeah,
But you didn't give it
Star
a
season.
TV.
Yeah, stars. But it's on Netflix, so if you want to watch at least season 1, yeah, highly
If you
recommend
want to watch
season
the
1.
good season, it's on Netflix
Just
now.
stop there.
Yeah, it's a happy little ending,
Yeah,
end of the
fair.
world type stuff,
I think that's
You know,
happy.
thing.
Very happy.
Yeah, and then best for me, I do like all the DC stuff, as I said.
Yeah.
Some is better than others, but my favorite, by far, when I have an episode on my DVR, no matter how much
Legends.
other stuff, Legends Tomorrow, no matter what else is on my DVR, no matter how much I love anything else that's on there, I go and watch the episode of Legends Tomorrow. It's just so much fun. And it is the most comic book style TV show I think that's ever existed. It's just
I can agree with
Yeah.
that statement at least.
okay.
Yeah.
It's fun, and if you've never watched it at all, or if you hadn't watched anything since the first disappointing season, because the first season was, watch the Halloween episode of this season. They travel back in time and see a young Ray at Halloween, and even people I know who hate the show. Not that they just don't watch it, but I know there's one guy that I've been on his podcast. He literally hates Legends Tomorrow. He enjoyed that episode. It was so good. So I recommend doing that.
Wait, you've been seeing other podcasts?
I haven't seen other podcasts on the side yet.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's understandable.
I promote ours when I'm on there.
Well, I have 2 actually.
Oh,
I have
okay.
2. I've been doing a few of them.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
If I could, I would like to take this next category because I have some things I need to say about it.
Okay.
You
Go
wrote
for it.
fanboy TV shows and then you wrote overall TV shows.
Right.
That's not really how I looked at it. I looked at it more like fanboy TV shows as in things I have to watch by myself and then other TV shows that I can sit down and watch with my girlfriend.
Okay, that's fine.
So these two did not overlap. I'm going to start with my most surprising was a Netflix cartoon that looked like a Rick and Morty wannabe called
Oh.
Big Mouth.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. It was funny. It had a bunch of good. Steve Kroll was in it, and just all
Nick
kind
Kroll?
of Nick Kroll. Yeah. I don't know who Steve Kroll is. He might have been in it too. I'm
You
not really
named
sure.
him like he was someone.
But yeah, it was good. It's just a story about kids like growing up. They're like in early high school or late middle school or something. They're like going through puberty. It's like a whole thing. It's funny. My most disappointing, again, these are shows that I watched with my girlfriend, was Walking Dead Season 7, which also started in 2016 but ended in 2017. So
Yeah,
point
that's
that
true.
out. Walking Dead's a garbage show, and I think I'm done with it because, man, that season
Hey, that's
got
what I
real
said.
rough.
That everything was
It was
bad.
a good show when it first started.
It was. It is not anymore.
Oh, I agree.
What's it doing wrong?
everything.
I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Well, we're at the same point where it's the same show every time.
It is the same show, but it's not as good as it used to be.
You just keep falling into those same traps.
It's the same thing over and over and over, but a little less interesting every time. They bring in this new guy, Negan, and you're like, oh, he's going to be cool. But actually, no, he's not. He just makes a bunch of stupid decisions. So he's like this dude that rules with like an iron fist, but at the same time, you're like, but why are you so stupid? Like, how did you get into power?
He's another version of the governor. Another version of
However, when he's on screen, though,
he is good, yeah.
you might think about that kind of stuff later, but while you're watching him on screen, it's just wow.
It's mesmerizing.
Yeah, he is.
Jeffrey
Yeah.
Dean Morgan.
He's very cool.
Yeah, he's good. And then my best, again, shows that I can watch with my girlfriend is Stranger Things Season 2, which was interesting because she did not watch Stranger Things Season 1 at all, but we were doing like a viewing party. And I was like, look, you gotta watch it. She was like, I'm not into it or whatever. Made her watch like a 7-minute long video on YouTube that just caught you all the way up. And man, she was hooked on Season 2. Like, she was immediately like super into it.
I can see that. If you summarize season 1 in 7 minutes, that'd be about the right length.
Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Yeah, that should have been
did she
2
feel
episodes.
like going back and watching season
Man,
1?
save
Or
yourself
she-
like
Yeah,
12 hours.
she has wanted to go back and watch it. She hasn't yet because, of course, I mean, right now she's watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Like, what else would you be doing with your life at this point?
Of course.
But no, Stranger Things
I got
season
like
2,
5
man,
other things better
so
than
good,
watching that show.
so good.
They are hard to keep up with, I've heard.
Huh?
I'd rather them to work and watch
Because
that
there's
shit.
so many of them. They're all moving in different
They're
directions.
so fast.
But yeah, that was that was my way of interpreting that category. I don't know if you guys did it, just as an actual
I did
overall.
similar
I kind of wish I did it that way. Now I think.
Well, you didn't write anything down, so
So-
you
Yeah,
can
exactly.
do it any
So,
way you
I
want.
can rethink
Here.
now. I can rethink here.
I'll go after Matt since
Okay,
my last
go for
one
it.
was just like a bunch of I hate everything. This one I did the same thing. My most surprising
You hate
one.
everything still?
No, I actually like everything.
I still hate everything.
I hate everything fanboyish.
Oh, okay.
But no, my most surprising one was the DuckTales reboot. To me, it was one of those things where when they first announced it, it was when I was like, I don't really feel too comfortable with this. Why are they rebooting it? They're rebooting everything. And after watching the first 2 episodes, I'm going, this is amazing. They got the concept of the show, the idea, the mythos of it, and they modernized it to
DuckTales.
DuckTales. Yeah, it's great.
I never really thought of it having a concept and a mythos, though.
It's the whole, like, Scrooge McDuck is the explorer, he has the family,
Yeah.
and it brings a lot of
It's
elements
ducks.
from the comic books into it.
Yeah.
So to me, that was one of the most surprising shows out there. David Tennant does the voice of Scrooge McDuck, so he does his natural Scottish accent. It's a great show. Most disappointing was actually American Horror Story. Colt. It started off really great, and then the last episode was just garbage. It was
I've
hot
heard
garbage.
that from several people. Like, this show is really good, except for that last episode.
And-
Ruins everything.
Because it jumps to shark because the guy gets elected as a city councilman, then jumps to shark because all of a sudden now he has like this little cultish army. You're going, where did he get this cultish army? Where did he get all these guys to start following him?
So now we don't need to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, that's just halfway through the series, and then the final episode was just every single cliche meme that you could possibly think of. Like he goes to Sarah Paul's and make me a sandwich. That's woman's place is in the kitchen, like stuff like that. You're like, no, this is bad. And best show was one that started in 2016, but it finished in 2017. Was the Grand Tour on Amazon.
Yeah.
It had the guys from Top Gear.
I should have
Clarkson.
put that on my list.
Yeah.
Me too.
Shut up. You don't have a list.
I have a list.
Well, you could put it on your list now. There's something on there. And
We'll never know.
It's in my head.
it had the original presenters of Top Gear: Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May. They got to Amazon, and it's still the best show out there. It's so much better than the new Top Gear, and it's probably one of the best original shows on Amazon at the moment.
It's funny because it's one of the best original shows, but it's really just that other show.
It's
again.
Top Gear.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few little twists, but for the most part, have you started watching season 2?
Oh yeah,
I wish they'd stuck with the moving around from place to place, but
it just cost too much money for them. They
Yeah.
were spending way too much money. That they go, we can't keep doing this. We just have to stay at one central location. But yeah, that's my more uplifting list.
Most surprising for me.
Still looking at the list.
I'm looking at the list, man. I'm looking at
what's
my
he
list.
got down there? Man? Tell me. Can you read it?
Yeah, his favorite was Barbie's Dream House Goes on an Adventure.
That's not my favorite.
It's weird.
That wasn't even a Barbie episode. Barbie's been a good cartoon though. It's a fanboy show actually, but the fanboys hate this. I'm leaving it separately. Star Trek Discovery, I love it. And I hate Star Trek. I never liked Star Trek up to this point.
I think they were more pissed off that they can't watch it on CBS, that they had to download the app and get the CBS programming to watch the
Or
show.
watch it illegally, which I would never do. But
But you
it
do.
is optional. I don't do that at all. That's totally illegal. I would never do that.
We wrongly reported on our podcast that you were going to be able to watch it on Netflix because it turns out you can do that in everywhere except the United States.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's just word, bro.
I did not know that. But Discovery, I mean, you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a good show.
It was very,
it's
very
a lot
good.
of fun, but a lot of the Star Trek fanboys hate this, and I can't figure that out. I think it's a good show.
If it gets enough seasons, they'll love it.
It'll get enough seasons.
Yeah.
Most disappointing, American Ninja Warrior. I love that. It's a you guys watch Ninja Warrior. Everybody's seen Ninja Warrior.
It's an obstacle course.
It is.
It's fun.
Every season is a lot of fun. This season they added the Casey Catanzaro rule, which is pretty much you guys know Casey Catanzaro. She watched that show. 3 years ago, she had a huge run. Small girl, she's like 5 foot tall, whatever it is. She had a
Almost
huge
5
run.
foot tall, yeah.
Yeah, blew people away.
Yeah.
The very next season, she bombed the first stage.
Right.
Bombed it. They gave her a wild card to the finals. Whatever, no big deal. Season after that, same thing. Like the second,
Right.
she bombed it again. Yet she still got a wild card, and it took a lot of heat for that. Like,
Yeah.
why is this woman getting all this stuff? So this year they added a new rule where the top 4 women, no matter how they did, go to the finals. And the best thing about Ninja Warrior was they always kept women and men together. It didn't make a difference. You were equal.
Could you do it or not do it?
Yeah.
That's all it came down to.
And this year they finally said, we need to make her into the finals, so they gave them a separate category, which I think kind of defeated the purpose, saying women can't be as good as men. And that's not true. Jessie Graff is actually one of the best Ninja Warriors.
Right.
And top it all off with that was they put her in her thing against a bunch of women who never even ran the course before, except like one. And she still barely qualified, and she didn't finish the wall. So it was really a rule made just for her because, again, she gets a lot of
She
viewers.
retired. She retired from it. So
She retired.
She's done now.
She had to. They were taking a lot of heat for this. I'm hoping they change it back. They probably won't, just the fact to save face. Anyways, that was that.
Anyway, I will say I find American Ninja Warrior disappointing. Even though I enjoy watching it, it is disappointing because the best part about Ninja Warrior, before they added the word American to the front, was the minute the firing gun goes off, and the constant string of Japanese chatter that you have no idea what they're saying for the entire time, up until that moment the person falls. Oh! And that was always so much fun to have the sound effects.
You can add that if you want to. I can do it.
Could, but it loses
the
something.
same.
It loses something. You don't have that.
And best.
Do they still fall in filthy water?
No, the water's clean.
Yeah.
See, you got to have filthy water.
I agree. It's got to be mud.
Yeah.
Or like
And a little
sharks.
danger.
You know what
Yeah.
really
If
needs
they
to
put
bring
a
back?
shark or piranha pit in there, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be a Ninja Warrior course.
You need to bring back Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
Yes.
That show was amazing.
That was actually a good
They
show.
actually filmed an episode here in Orlando once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in like 04.
So do you have a best
I'm sticking with Game of Thrones. I think
Right.
Game of Thrones
Fun
is the best
fact.
show.
for overall? Right.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Did
man.
you actually have anything for this
Yeah,
category?
so for overall TV shows, I actually, for my most surprising, I stayed with Orville because it just was my most surprising TV show. I did not expect to like it. Same with disappointing. Defenders just disappointed the crap out of me. But for my best, it was different. I went with Orphan Black. Now, I just discovered this show this year. This had been on TV for a long time
Oh
now.
yeah, Orphan
BBC
Black is
America.
incredible.
But and I haven't watched the last 3 episodes of the final season yet, but I will. But obviously there is a season this year, so it does
Yeah.
count.
Is it not
Yeah,
safe
it's
for
just
work?
such
I always
an
wondered
awesome-
that.
Yeah,
I wanted.
you're better off not watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I watched it in the back. Not that I watch TV at work anyways. I would be against.
You're better off
policy.
just watching it at home
Okay,
or on your cell phone.
I can do that.
But it's a great show.
Yeah, it really is.
I was really surprised how much I liked it. My brother was the one that told me about it, but obviously I'd heard good things about it. The female was one.
Tatiana
Possibly.
Maslany. She
She's won
She
like
gets
so many
robbed.
awards for.
Yeah.
But she gets robbed in the American
she,
awards.
she
Oh,
does.
really?
Golden
She gets robbed
Globes,
every year, but she's got to be the
Emmys.
best actress on TV.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
She's been
Like
like
each,
5 characters, and
more than
each
that,
person
yeah.
seems like a completely like I forget when they're on screen together that it's the same actor.
one of
'cause they
the
seem
one
like
of the best
different people.
scenes, and you can see the behind the footage of it is when she does. They have like a little dance party, and she's
What's the
dancing.
dance parties and shows?
Well, they're
Yeah,
they're
this
having a
makes
party,
sense here.
and she's dancing as like 5 different characters, and each character is dancing completely different styles, different movements, different everything.
Yeah, she can change her entire body language.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I think that was like the most mind-blowing aspect of the entire show was just that one scene where she's dancing.
And with other characters interacting with all the different versions throughout the scene.
And my favorite scenes are when one of the sisters has to pretend to be one of the others, because obviously it's the same actress. But you're like, oh, she looks like her. That's cool.
And I'm blanking on the
same
names.
person.
But the first time the soccer mom had to pretend to be kind of the main
Allison.
character, Allison had to pretend to be the main one, Sarah, and she puts on the leather and all the rest. And at the end of the scene, she walks out of the house and she's in Sarah mode and turns the corner. And as soon as the character realizes nobody can see me anymore,
she does her little walk.
She shifts. And like in one step, she shifted characters, and suddenly, nope, she's Allison again. It was so
weird.
dramatic how well she did that.
It's weird.
I'm missing on the show, apparently.
Yeah, man.
It's good.
We should get on.
I gotta get on this right now.
Yeah, it's got a good story too. I think the thing that gets harped on the most is her performances, but I mean, the show's got a great story.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my favorite overall TV show.
Well, for overall, I treated it as overall, and since I watched almost nothing that wasn't
Fanboy.
falls under fanboy, and the few that I do watch, I liked the other stuff, like Legends of Tomorrow better. I just said ditto. But if I do want to interpret it as stuff that's not from fanboy, there's probably only one that's fall under best. I'm just going to leave the other two off. Elementary. I still love the American Sherlock Holmes take. Elementary has been great.
I used to watch that. Lucy Liu, man.
Yeah.
Johnny Miller.
It's just as good now as it was from the beginning. Still enjoying it.
That's CBS?
That's CBS.
Yeah.
That's funny. I've been watching through old seasons of Dexter because I had stopped after season 4. And Johnny Lee Miller plays a bad guy in that show, and that was weird for me.
Anything after season 4 is junk anyways in Dexter.
I'm still enjoying it, honestly.
It gets really... The ending was the worst ending in any TV show, I think.
Yeah, I've heard the last season's like almost unwatchable, but...
The last
these
season
two
started
seasons,
off decent.
5 and 6 have been good.
But when you destroy the ending of the show, you destroyed the show, I think.
All right, so shall we move on to Fanboy Movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't started one off, so I'm crackling my paper because I actually have stuff written on it, unlike my co-host over here.
It's in the memory.
Yeah.
You keep
All right.
changing every 5 minutes.
I do change it.
So Fanboy Movie. I'll go ahead and give you a heads up. For my Fanboy Movie and overall movie, I put ditto on overall, just like I did on TV.
Gotcha.
Because when I looked at the movies I watched this year...
I'm going to guess it's DC related.
Well, we're gonna find out here. We're gonna start with most surprising.
Yes.
Most surprising. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. I went into it expecting to see some really cool computer-generated stuff and a train wreck of a movie. I really enjoyed the thing. It was fun.
I
this
did
was
too.
yeah, okay. So this was not an Oscar-winning movie, but it was fun. So it was one of those expectations low, results high. So Valerian was that. I will say my close runner-up was Thor 3, Thor Ragnarok. If they had not had the improv humor, or whatever you want to call it, that over-the-top humor through too much of it, it was a great movie. They could just pull some of that out. So it came close and surprising. Most disappointing, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I don't know. We might end up all hitting that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see here. But Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
I'll hold the little mantle for it.
It's not like the worst movie ever made. It's not the worst Star Wars movie ever made. But it's disappointing after coming off of Force Awakens and then the high of Rogue One. It was just disappointing. And best movie of the year. Can you guess what it's going to be?
Justice League.
It's Wonder Woman.
It could be Wonder Woman.
That's
In
it.
fact, it is Wonder Woman.
Woo!
There we go.
Man, I killed it.
Wow.
I honestly think it was the best movie I saw this year.
I mean, you're wrong there, but yeah, that's a good option.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's going to be the one that I remember the most over the years to come of everything I saw this year, I have a feeling.
You don't remember anything.
But he'll remember that movie,
He'll
which
remember
says
Wonder
something,
Woman.
sir.
I have a surprise category coming up, by the way, which will explain why I like this one so much when I give you my vote for the surprise category that no one knows about, but I want to get y'all's gut reaction on it.
Is it best sidekick of the year?
No, not best thing.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Don't try to ruin the
Okay.
surprise.
All right, so that was my top ones.
All right, yeah, I'll go next. So this fanboy movie.
Yeah.
Most surprising for me was Justice League. I have not liked any of the DC movies except for Wonder Woman. I enjoyed
Okay.
it. Boy, the reviews were bad. The trailers looked bad. So I went into this expecting to hate it and trash it. And I enjoyed it for the most
There we
part.
go.
There was plenty of stuff to complain about, but overall this was a fun movie and I enjoyed it. And we reviewed it much more favorably than I would have expected. So that was definitely my most surprising.
And I compared it to a Justice League Unlimited cartoon. If you go in, you enjoyed it, you move on to life.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
sure. Most disappointing, I'll double it, Last Jedi.
Yeah,
That's
there's
just
two.
the epitome of a
Did you just say there's
disappointment.
going to be 4 against 1 on Last Jedi? Just get it out there already, because
Yeah, I was,
Matt's got Last Jedi. Brendan on his imaginary list got Last
It's not even,
Jedi.
the list is here. It's just not written down.
Is Invisible Ink?
And it's gotten worse. Like, the more we talk about it, the more like,
That movie
really
becomes
has.
worse.
It
than
really
I
does.
thought when I
It really
first
does.
left the theater.
I'm defending the movie, and every single person right now is going like, how can we kill him?
I'm hoping that because of that, the more you think about it, the more you talk about it, the worse it gets. I'm hoping that by the time it comes out on home video and I watch it at home, my expectations are now so low,
You'll be like, oh, this wasn't so bad.
which is what has happened. Got to bring up a DC thing to a lot of people with Green Lantern. People hated it so much and talked about it for so long. It now has it's okay.
No,
kinda
it's not
feeling.
okay. That movie is not okay.
The general feeling is it's
God.
okay.
No,
Which
no, that's not the general. That's not the general. Who general
It's a general
feeling on who?
feeling.
General feel. Who did you
we'll
talk to?
come back to that.
What's the general feeling?
We'll come back to does
That
it hold
movie is
up.
horrible.
Okay, keep going.
All right, so for my favorite, best fanboy movie of the year, Spider-Man: Homecoming. We knew it was going to be Marvel. And
I didn't
it could
know.
have
I
been-
didn't know if it would be Marvel. I honestly didn't know.
I thought it might have been Thor because I was so excited to go see that. That actually was in the running for most disappointing because I had a lot of problems with Thor. But Last Jedi just beat it out. yeah, Spider-Man: Homecoming I loved. It
I'm
was,
right there with you.
bringing Spider-Man back into the fold, they did it in a really clever way. It was just a solid movie. I liked that the stakes were lower than a lot of the Marvel movies have been. This was not a world-ending plot that Spider-Man had to get involved in. It was a little smaller. One of the best villains they've done in a long time. So, yeah, just really good. Really solid movie.
Man, you know what?
All right.
I completely agree with your list. I have exactly the same thing here. Most surprising, Justice League. Most disappointing, Star Wars. And best was Spider-Man. You really nailed it.
You want to hold hands, buddy?
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
Isn't it the time of the podcast where you guys normally hold hands?
I mean,
Kumbaya moment here.
I
We do like the
was
side hug, just like the whole.
like I dug deep. I was like, man, I don't want this to be exactly the same. But yeah, like
Well,
Justice League surprised me. Star Wars really upset me, and I mean, Spider-Man was amazing. So
Yeah, Wonder Woman could have easily been most surprising. But like I said, the reviews were so good.
Yeah, that's
It
the
wasn't that
difference.
You were
surprising.
expecting it to be better.
Yeah, I was expecting to enjoy that one.
So I guess I could have put Star Wars as most surprising because I thought that was going to be awesome.
That's true.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
man,
true.
but it sucked.
It would have gone the other way.
Once again, I'm holding the torch for Star Wars.
I'm actually
All right, here we
almost
go.
identical to them as well. Although I put Wonder Woman most surprising, just the fact that I don't care about reviews. The DC movies up to that point were terrible. Man of Steel wasn't good, at least semi, just meh at best. Batman v Superman was such a bad, boring
It was
movie.
garbage.
Suicide Squad was so bad. John Paul thinks he's as good as Avengers. I don't know how he gets that.
Well, I mean, if you see from the beginning to the end, you don't really see anything in the middle. Great movie. And I'm getting fired. See you guys later.
I'm actually waiting for John Paul to say, you know what, all you guys are fired. But Wonder Woman, I thought was going to be really, really bad. And I went there with really low standards. Started opening weekend. I think, did I see it with you?
No,
Oh.
I don't think so.
He doesn't go to movies with you. He does not like you.
I know, he doesn't invite me ever.
We see some together.
No, what he does is that he invites you. You never get back to him. So when he goes to the movie, you're like, hey, you never invited me. You're like, well, yeah, I did.
Yeah, that does happen sometimes, and I forget.
yeah.
But anyways, Wonder Woman. Most disappointing.
Yeah.
Star
Dun,
Wars:
dun,
The Last
dun.
Jedi, and I actually liked it for the most
You
part.
went on a tirade on Facebook about this movie, so I'm
I
surprised
went on
you
the
said you
tirade
liked
because
it.
the Facebook tirade I went on is most people I talked to either straight up hated it or were very disappointed. And I'm disappointed in the disappointed group, but I liked it. The problem I'm having is people say that really like this movie, saying you guys just missed the whole point of this movie. It's actually a really great movie.
The point was to be real bad.
And that's why I'm disagreeing with the tirade is the fact that I'm seeing that post a lot. It's a great movie, you guys. No, Star Wars is not a deep movie. There's not a lot of hidden motives in this movie. It's a very straightforward movie. This movie had a lot of plots, a lot of different stories going on at once, a lot of things that felt out of place, and it was really edited bad. It was I liked it because I love Star Wars. If it did not have the Star Wars brand, I probably would have fell asleep.
It was probably the best looking Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
And I will say there were a few parts in this movie that I really wanted to jump out of my chair and cheer. Some really cool parts in it. But for the most part, I don't know if it's a good movie with a lot of flaws or a bad movie that with some really cool parts. I don't know which one it is. To say this movie is great is mind-blowing to me. To say it's in the top Star Wars movies is mind-blowing to me.
Wait until I go.
It's
around.
not. It's not.
My torch.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
And I will say, I have to correct you one thing. You said it's the best looking Star Wars movie so far. No. In Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi is the best looking Star Wars movie so far.
I see what you did.
Yeah, say that. Yeah. If you didn't get it, that's okay. Just move on in life.
Best movie. I'm gonna agree with these guys over here. Spider-Man: Homecoming. I understand
All
why
three of us can hold hands now.
Woo!
Wow.
Wonder Woman was good. The reason I'm saying Spider-Man was better was the fact that Wonder Woman, I went low expectations, and it met them by completely. Wonder Woman had problems. Had a weak villain, had a weak ending scene. It really was almost a copy of Captain America, up to the point where a guy named Steve dies in a plane. I mean, literally, it's that much of a copy of Captain America.
Except a guy named Steve didn't die in a plane in Captain America.
You thought he did. He was left for dead.
Now, did anybody really think he died?
Nobody thought he did. You know what I'm getting
Okay.
at.
Well, they didn't hope when they were like, "Yeah, Avengers is coming out next year."
Oh, I know. You know he didn't die, but it really was a copy of that movie. They copied a lot from Captain America. Spider-Man, I went high expectations, and I met expectations. I know, John Paul, you thought it wasn't Spider-Man.
Just didn't feel like Peter Parker.
I mean, again, how you...
And I went in with low expectations. And it met those low expectations.
See, that's mind-blowing because you love Justice League. And those weren't the... Yeah. Whatever, I'm not going into that right now.
That's a different discussion. I want to get to the...
But yeah, Spider-Man I thought was great. And the villain Spider-Man was one of the best villains compared to Woman Who Blows It Away.
The villain was good. The villain was very good.
My most surprising was the amount of hate Star Wars The Last Jedi has gotten. Like, to me, is one of
That really surprises you, huh?
Well, it's when you first... The critics' review were amazing. It's one of the highest rated Star Wars movies from the critics.
Right.
That surprises me.
Yes,
So
that surprises me as well.
When people started watching it and they're coming out of the theater and they're going, I don't know what I just watched. What is this movie? And the first thing they do, and this is where I get really surprises. The first thing they do was they either go on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Because going into the movie, they're always like, "This movie's amazing. This movie's amazing. Here's a picture with me with the cutout. Here's the poster, the trailer." Then after the movie's like, "This movie was horrible. This movie sucked. It killed my childhood." It's like, okay, the first thing you do is you go and complain on social media. And that's extremely surprising where that was your first response, to say how bad it was, to be one of the first ones to do it. And then when anybody has a different opinion from you, you goes, "Well, we didn't see the same movie." No, we saw the same movie. We just understood it differently. So I understand your opinion that you didn't think it was good. I understand my opinion that it was good. But don't tell me I'm wrong because it's not the same as you. So that's been the biggest surprising thing, because not just...
So you're telling me
In
the
my
internet has
experience,
surprised
that's
you?
just the internet about everything.
I'm just surprised, like, the amount of hate that it's gotten from everybody.
It's because it's so disappointing to people who are
But that's the
massive
thing.
fans.
It's with the Justice League. It was always like, I don't know what movie the critics are watching, but it's still not a good movie.
But
And
people are
it's just-
so passionate about Star Wars, it shouldn't be surprising that the hate
It
it's
is,
getting is more
because
extreme.
The Phantom Menace, it was a crap movie, but people still saw it 3 or 4 times in the movie
People
theater.
were shell-shocked by that. That took
And-
weeks before people were like, "Oh my god, I think that was bad, guys."
And it had been 20 years or longer since you'd had anything. Whereas this time
Yeah.
it's been 365
Yeah,
days
exactly.
since you had a masterpiece.
And I don't
here.
think anyone went into this movie expecting it to be bad. Everyone was
No.
like, "No, this is going to be great."
But that's the thing, is like everyone they always found something wrong with the movie. They always pointed out the plot holes, that this, I don't like this, and this. But with Justice League, what did everyone say about Justice League? Well, there's a few things that I didn't like, but oh my god, here's all the awesome things I did like. Well, why don't you do that with Star Wars? Because I'm pretty sure you
Because I hold Star Wars up to a much higher expectation.
And that's the surprising thing, is people didn't
That's not
accept what the
surprising.
Star Wars was.
I mean,
Because you got the Clone Wars movie, which was horrible,
Right.
yet everyone still was like, oh, you put it on for the kids.
No, that movie's terrible. My kid doesn't watch
But
that.
how many people complain about the Clone Wars?
I've never even
Okay,
seen
this
that.
is what I'm going to say about Star Wars.
Okay.
And just to end this, I mean, not to end it, but I get what you're saying. Star Wars, Lucas himself said when he created this movie, it was made for the kids that adults didn't like.
Yeah.
The original trilogy was like that. Phantom Menace, my daughter actually enjoyed. I hated it. My daughter
Jar
likes
Jar
it.
Binks.
Right. For the most part, yeah.
But it's still kid friendly.
But it was
Yeah.
very kid friendly. This was the first part of the Skywalker saga that my daughter literally said, "I'm bored. I want to leave." And every person who has kids, close to my daughter's age, or a little older, said the same thing, that they just didn't like it. It killed what Star Wars was meant to be. Now, I know you're saying the internet, that kind of stuff. I get what you're saying. I like the movie. But
I pose this question to you guys.
Yes.
If Carrie Fisher didn't die last year, will we still be having the same reaction that we have right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that movie was bad. It had a
has
bad
nothing to do
plot.
with
It
my
It
doesn't
had
whole
bad
deserve
set
it.
pieces. It was just bad.
We see at the end with what happens with Luke. If Carrie Fisher is still alive, will we still have the same reactions? Because now we're like, oh yeah, but like think about it.
I'm actually going to counter that right now. I think the Carrie Fisher reaction with Luke made people like the movie a lot better. Because I actually cried during that moment.
Yeah.
Because it was such touching.
Yeah, if she was still alive, it would actually lower our opinion
Yeah.
of the movie because there would not be that emotional connection.
Because now it's Carrie Fisher's last film. How she's not going to be in the last movie. So now we have that to add in. Think about that. So to me, that was the most surprising thing. Is just the abnormally high expectations people had for the movie
So
and their reaction to
out of
it.
curiosity, that was your most surprising, right?
Yeah.
What's about disappointing?
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, it was garbage.
It's just
I
weird.
assume you like the anime.
That's why I didn't go see it. It's what
Yeah.
it looked like, even though I was looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's garbage.
And
Uh,
Zest?
it's going to be Lego Batman.
Lego Batman. Okay.
I thought it was-
I've got it at home, ready to watch. I haven't watched
Same
it
thing.
yet.
I got it at Target for like $6 on Blu-ray
Cool.
for Black Friday.
I was surprised a lot of people didn't like that because I thought it was great.
I think a lot of people just missed it. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anybody dislike it. I'm sure a lot of
I
people
read
missed
some
it.
people online.
Yeah.
And the only reason
crap
why I
on
like it the most was it came out on my birthday, so
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Last category, or you haven't gone yet?
No,
Did
I
you
started
go?
off. I
Oh, so
started
this is
off.
the last one.
So, and I will start this one off just to say what I said before. Overall movie, ditto with fanboy movie, because I didn't see a single thing this year that didn't fall into fanboy category.
That's fair.
So that's it. I'm easy. I'm quick.
I mean,
I'm
you can
done.
change up a little bit if you want to, but I get you.
I still didn't see any other movies.
Okay.
Whereas TV, I saw some other TV. I didn't see any movie that didn't fall into
This is
fanboy.
for this category. I'm the same way that I was with the TV shows, and these are movies that I actually watched that my girlfriend wanted to go see.
Okay.
So most surprising was Get Out.
That was a good one.
I really liked that movie, but it was not the movie I thought I was going to see. When I sat down in the theaters, I was like, I'm going to watch a thriller horror movie, and it's not really at all. Not to say that made it bad. I really liked it. I was just surprised by what the movie ended up being. Most disappointing. This one hits a little hard because I like Shaun of the Dead. I like Hot Fuzz. I like World's End. Baby Driver was garbage.
It was.
It was not a good
Really?
movie,
It was
man.
crap.
It got such good reviews from so many people.
Hey, like Star Wars.
It's on my list of, and I'm talking about everybody though. I mean, critics and people who watched it. But anyway,
Yeah,
I really wanted to see it because I love everything he's done.
I did too,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is not him. He's like taken away from the substance of the movie to focus on things that are like mundane on purpose, and it's like you understand that that's not enjoyable to watch. Like there's one scene in the movie that just paints the picture for the whole movie for me. It's like they go in to rob a bank, but instead of showing you anything of that, they just show you the dude in the car bobbing his head the whole time. Like clearly you've made a choice here to be like, this is his story, not their story. So we're not paying attention to that. We're paying attention to this. But like, you could have just cut that scene out altogether. Then we didn't need this 5 minutes of me just watching him.
Was it
Dance
really
in the
5
car.
minutes?
Well, the
It was like-
entire scene
It
is
was like
yeah.
2 minutes. Of him
The
just
entire
like in the
scene,
car.
like from them pulling up and him talking to them and stuff. But yeah, like actually looking at him is not 5 minutes. I'm saying like just pull the scene out. Just say, oh, we just got back from the heist. We got all the money in the bag. Like you didn't need to show me this because it was boring. And then my best movie overall was It. How about that?
Look at that.
Oh,
High five.
man.
Yeah.
Woo,
You knew I was going there. You knew I was
It
going
was
there.
so
We got
scary.
Some love. We got some love here.
It wasn't actually that scary, but it was an awesome movie.
It was really well made.
Yeah, it was
really well made.
the best horror movie that I've seen in a long time. I love horror movies, so overall,
Yes.
that's the one, man.
What's going to be a surprise then when we get to your final one? But you want to go next? And
Most surprising, I actually had a
He
few.
looked at the list.
I did look at the list again. I mean,
I think you just make it up as you go along
No.
and see what everybody else
I
says.
should. 47 Meters Down was up there. I had to push that one away. I thought it was going to be a cheesy shock movie. Enjoyed it a lot. Happy Death Day was up there until just
yeah,
recently.
Happy Death Day was good.
I thought that was going to be horrible. That was actually really entertaining. I loved it. I messaged you guys about this movie a while ago. It's a fan film.
Florida Project.
No.
Oh,
No, not
really?
that. Never Hike Alone. It's a fan film, but it's a Jason Voorhees fan film. It's better than most of the Friday the 13th movies out there.
Maybe not most, but some.
I would say it's...
Jason
I would say
Manhattan's the best one.
what?
And on that comment, he's fired. No.
I'm actually stunned. I would say it's in the top. 6 is still the best. There's a couple of others above it, but to be a fan film and to be that good. And again, I have a Jason crush. Like, I below Tom Brady is probably Jason. Because I sympathize with him.
If Jason was here, you probably would have a Jason crush.
I would hug him.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
Well, it
you
didn't go
made.
very well. It didn't go
Never
very
Hike
well.
Alone, I thought was great. I really did. Most disappointing, and again, just for Brian's and all, I liked the movie, but Star Wars: Last Jedi really just. Star Wars is my favorite franchise and anything above anything else, and this just didn't hit any expectations with that.
And what could your best be? What could it possibly
It's going to be
be?
a surprise, but I'm agree with Matt. It was great.
Yeah, it was
the
really
effects
good.
were great. It was so entertaining. Again, I'm a horror guy as well, so it's probably going to be horror most times than me, but it was the best horror movie I've seen probably in the last decade, in my opinion. I can't think of anything better than this off the top of my head. The original I liked but didn't hold up. This one was so entertaining all the way through. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise was unreal. Just a great. You haven't seen it yet.
No, that's
I'm gonna make you watch it with me one night. And plus, the Blu-ray I think comes out soon, right? With the deleted different ending.
Sure,
Different
yeah.
ending. Okay.
Definitely a Blu-ray coming out of that. Guaranteed.
There'll be a Blu-ray, yes.
Maybe a DVD
For everything.
combo.
Maybe, yeah.
with digital streaming.
Yeah,
version.
was it Ultra Ray or
Ultra
whatever?
HD.
yeah.
And I'm gonna watch both the Blu-ray and DVD. Make sure they're similar.
Okay.
And they probably will be.
You do that.
They'll be exactly the same almost.
It might be.
Any
So
thoughts? Did you
overall
actually have
movie, that's
something?
where we're at now.
Yeah.
Okay, so most
Look
surprising.
at this list too.
Yeah,
I
he
actually
wrote
wrote
things
things down.
down.
Did he? Oh, okay.
So my most surprising overall movie was Valerian. I have to agree
Okay,
with you.
cool.
I went into that not knowing really what to think, but the reviews were so bad.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend really wanted to see it. I did like The Fifth Element. I
Yeah.
like that director. The special effects looked good in the trailer. Yeah, it really surprised me. It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
What really holds it back was the lead actor. He's not good. He had no business playing that role.
He's not a Harrison Ford take command on screen
and yet
character.
that's what he played. So yeah, that didn't work. But for the most part, that was a pretty solid movie. I enjoyed it. Most disappointing was Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
Oh, I enjoyed that one.
I was into the trailers. It looked so cool, and it was so dumb. There's so many times where you're just like, why?
Fly,
Like, they
fly
all
higher.
circle Kong. He's just knocking him out of the sky. Yeah, it was really dumb.
To me, it was so much better than Godzilla that I wasn't disappointed.
Well, imagine Kong can jump high if you fly higher. I mean, he's an ape.
Well, he's
Apes
still
can jump.
growing.
Just fly away.
Just a bigger circle so that he can't reach you.
He jumps really far.
Sure, but he can't jump at all of you at one time. Just
But
all
they
fly in
literally
different
flew around
directions.
him, and so that he didn't have to jump or anything. He
Here,
was
large
just
monkey,
there.
allow me to fly closer to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just the whole fact that they became obsessed with killing him. Like, that's not what they were there for. It
Right.
was just weird. It was not a great movie. And then best, I'm just going to stick with Homecoming. I thought that was the best overall movie I saw this year.
Spider-Man, yeah.
So,
Okay.
leaving off the Star Wars comments this time for sake of time.
Unless you add
No,
it.
I'm good. Most surprising movie for me was going to be The Disaster Artist, about how good it really was and how entertaining. And the greatest thing about it was the secondhand embarrassment you get from watching it, because you just get so embarrassed for everyone on screen. So to me, that was one of the most surprising movies there. Disappointing is going to be Alien Covenant.
Oh, yeah, I watched
Yeah.
that one too. That almost made my
It
disappointment
was
list.
garbage.
I went for wrote that down.
Huh?
No, you did not.
I thought of writing things down, and that would
It
have
was just a horrible movie. You already had the first Prometheus, which was garbage, and now
Boring.
you have this one, which brought it up. I think this one had the most stupidest things in the world, like, oh, I'm going to do this because love. And it's like, no, you just killed like 10 people.
Yeah, you get it, man. That movie was bad.
Yeah.
That movie was bad.
Bad movie.
And good movie, I had a tie, but I'm just going to go with, which I think is going to win the Oscar, is going to be Lady Bird.
What's the other one, out of curiosity?
Coco.
Coco? Okay.
Yeah.
Is Lady Bird about an insect that should have been
No.
called a ladybug?
No, it's Lady Bird.
Okay.
Which one with Lady Bird?
It's the one about the girl that's growing up in a Catholic school, and it's her just dealing with the going from 2000 to 2003, coming of age story type stuff.
Oh, honestly, from the title, I've heard the title before. I thought it was a not documentary, but a dramatized of President Johnson's wife because she was Lady Bird
Yeah.
Johnson. I mean, how many people are called Lady Bird? If you hear a movie titled Lady Bird,
Does she turn into a bird?
no,
That'd be great
no,
if she did.
sorry.
She has posters when she's running for class president of her as a bird.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there you go, John Paul. She turns into a bird in the
And
posters.
the posters, yeah, the posters.
But yeah, those are going to be my movies.
All right. And since I said mine were all ditto, we'll get to the surprise category, the
Oh,
one no
man.
one's prepared for.
Oh, I can't write this down in time.
It's on
Can't
this
write it
list.
down in time. It's on my list.
Then that's not fair. You gotta be ready for it.
Well, yeah, but I knew what my answer was going to be the minute I thought of the category, so I don't have to even think. And that's what the point of this one is. You actually get a moment to think, and you'll hear my answer, because I'll give my answer first. Best fanboy moment of the year. And a moment could be a news thing that happens, a scene from a movie, a scene from a TV show. It could be any moment that falls into the category of
I know why
fanboy
you wrote
moment.
that. I know it because I know what your answer is already.
Yeah, you know my answer. It's an obvious one. But going back to Christopher Reeve and Superman, we all love Christopher Reeve's first Superman movie, and the best moment in that when the John Williams music kicks in and Superman catches Lois and the helicopter, and it's just that swelling of emotion, and it's such a great scene. That'll always be one of the best Superman scenes ever. No matter what you thought of anything else, Wonder Woman crawling up out of the trenches and crossing no man's land had that kind of effect. That just, to me, that was the fanboy
You
moment
made a
of the year.
category just to kiss DC's butt some more.
No,
You
because I
literally
have-
made a
I
category
have
just to do
several.
that.
If people can't think of one, I have some suggestions, but I'll see what else.
No, you made a category just for
Okay.
Wonder Woman to praise that
I think
some
it's a
more.
good category.
How many times Wonder Woman on your list? 3 times now?
No, twice.
3 times.
For me,
Yes, twice.
Best movie, best fanboy movie, and now best John Paul creator category.
Ditto on the best movie.
for me is when Mark Hamill called out Ted Cruz on net neutrality.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
good.
When
That was
Ted
good stuff.
Cruz tried to
good.
when
See,
Ted Cruz tried to be
So it
all
could be any
like,
kind of moment like that, yeah.
we was like, "Oh, Mark, you don't understand. It's spelling Mark Hamill's name wrong, all that stuff." And then Mark Hamill's like, "Dude, no," and then completely destroys him with one of the things
With
that
the
he
Force.
liked.
Yes.
Yeah,
Crushed
with one of the
it.
things he liked on Twitter. I was like, that was awesome.
That's good.
You
Anybody
got
else
one,
have
or
any?
you need some time?
No, I got one.
Okay, let's hear
Because
it.
I'm actually going to say Star Wars, my favorite moment. At least most surprising moment was, I don't do spoilers
Is this a
here.
spoiler?
If
Okay.
anybody might have...
Sure. Well, for right now, if you don't want to know, turn it off.
No, don't turn it off. I'm just going to... There's a scene where
Fast forward
Ray and
30
Kylo,
seconds.
you think it's going to go one direction, and it
Is when
goes...
he's shirtless.
No.
Yeah, that's that. That's it. That's the one.
It's. I'm just gonna say right when they're talking to Snoke, you think it's going one direction and it goes in a complete other direction. I wanted to get up and cheer. That was a really cool moment. Again, I liked the movie; it had some really cool moments. That was a moment I just almost cheered.
I wouldn't have picked that one. From Star Wars.
And actually, again,
The
to
final
tie.
battle.
Actually, the conversation with Luke and Leia.
Okay,
As I think
that's
about it,
cool.
was very touching at the very end. So yeah,
I would go with.
you look at your list too. You look at your list too.
Well,
Nothing
I was just
there.
looking over all this to see if there was anything from these movies that stick out in my mind over
Okay.
what I'm gonna say. There is not. The thing that I would say is the release of the Infinity War trailer, like that. And clearly, it affected a lot of people because it was the most viewed trailer in 24 hours ever, or whatever. It was like sitting. I watched that trailer 6 or 7 times that day. Like that was it.
I've seen it twice.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm sold, man.
I'm so too.
Yeah. What you got?
Mine's
Yeah.
a news item also, which would be Disney's purchase of Fox.
I had that down as a suggestion. If
That's
anybody
good.
was lost,
Yeah.
for that,
Whether
that's
you-
huge.
Whether you think it's a good thing for Hollywood or a bad thing for Hollywood or the industry, regardless, just all the prospects of all these characters joining Marvel, very
Just a question
exciting
about that
to
one.
play around with
I'd
in the
ask you.
head.
How does that affect Deadpool? Or does it either?
It doesn't. Bob Iger already said that Deadpool's still going to be rated R. He's still going to be what he is. They're not
Okay.
going to change it at all.
Because that was
whatsoever.
the only thing I was worried about there, was keep Deadpool like Deadpool.
And Bob Iger also said that there is a place for rated R comic book movies. That there is a place for him. Deadpool's going to be one of them.
Now, I do assume, though, if they ever decided to include him into an X-Men movie, it'd probably end up being a PG-13,
Yeah.
whatever. But
I don't think they will.
No,
I don't think they want to break in the fourth wall, and you need Deadpool to break the fourth wall.
unless it was a post-credit scene,
Oh yeah,
I knew I told you I'd get in this movie somehow. You know, that
that'd
kind
actually
of
be cool.
that kind of moment.
That'd actually be cool.
I mean, you don't need him to break the fourth wall, though. You just have him seem like the crazy person that he seems like to everybody around him.
I hear that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And if he curses, he goes to like what they did in the comics. It's like kind of censor it and still be as crazy out there.
So one final question for you guys: just best moment of 2017 for you. Go.
Best moment.
Best moment.
Oh,
What made you happiest? What made you just like this is awesome?
oh,
Personal life, whatever.
I don't. I saw that trailer. That trailer was pretty cool. I don't know, man. You put me on the spot. What do you want from me? Stop looking at me.
We can't be put on the spot twice in a row, man.
Think about it for a minute. I'll go first. I'll get
Okay.
the all moment.
Okay.
And then y'all can bring us back up.
Got it. Okay.
Mine was getting, I'm going to tear up saying it, getting to talk to my mom after she came out of operation, knowing that she's still with us. So, like I said, I'm going to tear up even thinking about it. But I thought I was going to lose my mom. So,
I'm not
getting to
tearing up just thinking this.
Yeah, you know what?
getting to talk to her
Let's
on the
just-
phone was.
Let's just end it
was
on that.
great.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
that's
say
it.
our moments aren't
No,
gonna.
No, we're ending it
No,
on that.
but
That's
that's
it.
what y'all can bring it back up.
we're-
And get
no,
back
we-
into whatever.
We could never
Go
top
ahead,
that.
Brian. You say something. What's the best moment from Brian?
John Paul being able to talk to his mom.
There you
Yeah.
go.
What about
You guys
you,
have
man?
nothing at all?
I mean, I'll throw one out. We started our podcast this year, so I'll say
That's an awesome thing. You guys
Yeah,
created
we
something
started
different.
our.
That
our
should have
show,
been
yeah.
mine, but instead I'm gonna say that time I murdered a bunch of people in Farpoint. I'm still undefeated. What up? What up?
I have no answer. I probably have an answer there.
Yes, you
Um,
asked the question.
I mean, did your daughter
This
have
year-
a birthday
yeah,
or something?
She
this
went
year?
cheerleading this year, and there's one game where she cheerleaded with high school girls, and she let them out, other players out there, and you can tell how happy she was and cheering with the big girls, and it made her just.
Oh, yeah. Those moments are just.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could
priceless.
the entire moment. She was with this big girl cheering with her, and she just looked over all the time, big smile on her face the entire game. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So yes,
All righty.
that
Cool.
was it.
Well, this has been fun.
Can we get a round of applause to end the show?
Let's get a round of applause, even a mechanical. All right. So until next time, we've had fun, and we're out of here.
We're all standing by.
Bye.